Khonshu was imprisoned at the end of Moon Knight episode 3, resulting in Moon Knight and Mr. Knight losing their powers and just turning them into boring old Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. So the status quo going into episode 4 is that there's 3 normal characters, Mark, Stephen, and Layla, going on an Indiana Jones style adventure together. And the first 25 to 30 minutes is that Indiana Jones style adventure, and I mean that in a serious sense. The adventure they go on is something that I am surprised Indiana Jones never actually went on. I mean, he might have in the books. Screw the books. Just, the trilogy's all I'm ever gonna pay attention to. And let me tell you, the last 2 episodes of this show could have absolutely 0 Moon Knight, and I would still love it, because the chemistry between all of these characters is great, and Oscar Isaac has great chemistry with himself. And if these characters were not this exciting to watch when they weren't powered, they'd be not exciting when they are powered. So thank God Mark, Stephen, and Layla are all characters I care about. And I will say, the performances in this episode are the best performances the show has had so far. I mean, Oscar Isaac has killed it in every episode, no exception here, but I think May Calamawy as Layla is the standout performance in this episode. She was amazing. There was this one scene she had. I mean, she's stellar throughout the whole episode, but there was one scene I want to single out where just the look in her eyes gave me goosebumps. It was insane. And there is something that happened involving Layla in this episode that I predicted last week, but I said it as a joke. I was like, man, it would be hilarious if blank. And that happened this episode. So imagine my surprise to find out I was right. I don't get a lot of my predictions right. If you like Indiana Jones, you will like this episode. They're exploring, looking for an artifact. There's mysteries and clues they get to solve. They fight some weird creature. They're running through caves. They're digging stuff up. There's a bunch of twists. It's so cool. They even mention archaeology, and I'm surprised they didn't mention Indiana Jones, considering Disney now owns Indiana Jones. And the last 20-ish minutes of this episode, I think it's like 15, 17, are a complete shift. It is completely different from anything we've seen in the show up to that point, and it is very hard to talk about without spoilers, so I will just say it changes the trajectory of the show. It opens up a whole new can of worms, and it makes me so excited to see how they resolve this in episodes 5 and the final episode. It's so cool. It was a serious WTF moment that also had like one of the sweetest moments in the show, and that transitioned back to the sort of horror mystery vibe they were going for in this episode. Because you can best describe this as the horror episode. Use that term lightly. It's not like insane horror. It is, again, Indiana Jones level horror. Just some spooks going on, some uneasiness, some very tense scenes. One in particular involving Stephen and Layla trapped in a room with this one really weird guy. Despite not actually having Moon Knight in it, this episode was very good. It was not as good as episode 1. For me, episode 1 just had this certain charm to it that none of the episodes have been able to replicate. Can't describe what it is, but it just has been absent in episodes 2, 3, and 4. That said, this is a very close second, and it continues the trend of the episode 4s being incredible. That's going to be it for non-spoilers on episode 4 of Moon Knight, called The Tomb. If you have not seen the episode, go watch the episode, then come back and watch my spoilers section. I will be going full spoilers from here on out. Let's start off with what I predicted last week. So I sent this text to my friend as a joke. I was kind of spot on, and I love how pissed off Mark was about it. I mean, rightfully so, but it was still funny with the way he took control of the arm to punch Stephen in the face, and then he was taunting him as Stephen was digging into Alexander the Great's body. He was like, yeah, that's it, get in there. That was good. That got a chuckle out of me. That's where this episode really felt like something in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is one of the greatest movies of all time. So anything that feels like Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'm going to love. They go into the cave. They have to fight that weird dude, which Layla beats in the coolest way by stuffing a flare right into its eyeball. And then she's like walking on that ground that's like breaking, and it feels like it so feels like Indiana Jones. And then they discover the long-lost tomb of Alexander the Great, and Stephen has to stick his hand down Alexander the Great's throat to find the artifact he's looking for. It's something that I'm surprised they never actually did in the Indiana Jones franchise. That dude they were fighting was scary, or that dude Layla was fighting was scary, though. What was he? I never got a clear look at him. It looked like he was some, like, undead guy. Like, I feel like he looked like he was rotting. It was whack. Yeah, Layla kills it. And May Calamaui stole the episode. The scene I was referring to in the non-spoiler section is the scene after Arthur Harrow, who is in, like, he's in a couple scenes because he's in the mental hospital also. But he's in full Arthur Harrow mode in one scene, and it's great. Of course, it's Ethan Hawke. And he tells Layla that Mark Spector killed her father. And so obviously, she's going to be quite pissed about that. And Mark claims he didn't. I don't know who's right, but Arthur Harrow seems to be pretty truthful. And yeah, so she walks back into the room where Stephen is, and just the hate and the anger in her eyes, it was perfect. It was great acting. And then we get to see the shift from Stephen to Mark, and it's just as exciting as it was when they did the Mark to Stephen in episode 3, because he goes from, kind of insecure Stephen, but very confident, and then he switches to just stoic, stern Mark Spector. Oh, man. They could do that like 5 times every episode, and I would never get sick of seeing the change. Then, sure enough, Harrow's guys come in before we get any clear answers, shoot Mark twice, once for Mark, once for Stephen, and then the episode shifts. And we're in a mental hospital, and Mark's in a wheelchair. He's strapped to the wheelchair like he was strapped to his own bed. He's watching a movie called Tomb Busters, where the character in it is Dr. Stephen Grant, and he has the British accent. And we see all these different items there. There's cupcakes there, there's a goldfish there, Donna's there, the guy who paints himself gold is there, Layla's there. The 2 people who came to Stephen's door, the 2 cops that were working for Harrow, they're there. Everyone is in this institution, and Mark's doctor is Ethan Hawke. And there's a great scene and a great line where Arthur Harrow says, "Nothing is ever wrong, it's just perspective. To him it's a pen, to his dog it's a chew toy. Both are correct." I'm like, damn show's blowing my mind. And then he knows Harrow shot him, so he escapes, opens this Egyptian coffin, Stephen's inside, and then the best, the sweetest part of the episode is these 2 guys that have been arguing and bickering nonstop are now so happy to see each other, and they just hug. And seeing them in 2 separate Oscar Isaacs is something I never knew I wanted to see. It'd be cool if Jake Lockley was with them also, but take what we can get. And then it ends in a very laugh out loud moment of that hippo coming through the door and saying hi in this really sweet voice, and then both of them scream at different pitches. And that's when the episode ends. And I have no clue what the hell I just watched. So this is something I've been trying to do with this show, is I don't want to look into the Moon Knight character. I'm trying to avoid research in the best way I can, because so many of the Marvel characters I love, so many of the Marvel characters in Marvel movies I love are from characters I knew nothing about. So I'm trying not to know too much going in. I'm just trying to see it all unfold on the screen, so I don't really want to know what exactly this mental institution is in the comics. The only thing I do know from the comics is it's not real, but I kind of knew it wasn't real. I'm okay knowing that, because it was pretty obvious, but what is it? There's a lot of theories going around. Some people think they're stuck in Khonshu's mind, which I highly doubt. I think it is some sort of mind prison, though, meant to trap them there. And a bit of episode 5 is going to be them escaping that and getting the Moon Knight powers back. I mean, there's so many gods in play. Of course they can trap them in a mind prison. So that's what I would assume is going on, and now they have to escape. And there has been, like, a total of 3 minutes of Moon Knight across all 3 episodes, and he's not even in this episode, but this episode was still so thrilling because all these characters are just written so well that I love watching them, whether they're in their super suit or not. I saw a comment on YouTube of someone saying that this episode was bad, not because the content was bad, but because it confused them. People have the attention span of 3-year-olds nowadays. But there you go. That is my thoughts on Moon Knight episode for the Tomb. A great episode. What did you guys think of it? Let me know down in the comments below. Also leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.